All right, so today we're diving into a story that's really stayed with me.
Okay.
It's about survival, and, well, it's heartbreaking,
Yeah.
but incredibly inspiring, too.
It's powerful stuff.
It is. And, just imagine for a second being just a baby,
Right.
barely a year old, when the world as you know it just crumbles
Wow.
into absolute horror. I mean,
Yeah.
that was the reality
Yeah.
for Samuel Mitya Bykov.
Samuel Mitya Bykov. Now, that name might not be immediately familiar to everyone listening,
Right.
but he has this incredibly tragic distinction of being
Yeah.
one of the youngest known survivors of the Holocaust.
The Holocaust.
Just a baby
A baby.
when it all happened. And I think, a lot of people hearing that are probably wondering, how
How is that even
how could anyone, let alone an infant,
right?
survive something so horrific?
It's a question that just grabs you, you know?
It does.
And that's exactly what we're going to try to uncover today.
That's the mission.
That's the mission.
To delve into the story of Samuel Mitya Bykov.
Yeah. And what we have to work with here are, well, these fragments, really.
Right.
These glimpses into his life and the events he went through.
Yeah, and these sources we've got, they don't paint a complete picture, but they take us right into the heart of it.
Yeah.
Specifically to the Transnistria governorate.
Transnistria. So for those who might not be familiar,
Right.
what was going on in Transnistria during World War II?
So imagine
Yeah.
a big chunk of land, right?
Cool.
Part of what's modern-day Ukraine, occupied by Romania.
Romania.
During the war.
Yeah.
And now here's the thing. The Romanian regime, they were allied with Nazi Germany.
Right. Right.
But not directly controlled by them. But you know what? They still embraced this horrific Nazi ideology.
Yeah.
And they actively participated in the deportation and extermination of Jews.
So they took it upon themselves
They did.
to do that.
Yeah. Transnistria basically became a dumping ground.
A dumping ground.
A place where Jews were sent to die, often in just the most brutal,
It's hard to even
brutal ways imaginable.
So we're talking about something different
Yeah.
than the gas chambers.
Right. This wasn't the typical image that we associate with the Holocaust,
Right.
the camps, the gas chambers.
Yeah.
This was different.
Yeah.
This was a different kind of horror.
A different kind of horror.
Historians call it the Holocaust by bullets.
Holocaust by bullets. So instead of the camp,
Instead of being transported to these,
yeah.
purpose-built extermination camps.
Right.
Victims were often marched to these to ravines, forests.
Oh, wow.
And just shot en masse.
Just shot. I mean, you're talking about something
Brutality.
brutal. Yeah. And was this happening in Transnistria?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Across Eastern Europe. And one of the most well-known, infamous, really, examples is the Babi Yar massacre.
Babi Yar.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
But remind me again what happened there.
So Babi Yar, it was near Kyiv. It happened in just 2 days.
2 days.
In September 1941. Over 33,000
33,000.
Jewish residents of Kyiv were murdered
My God.
at Babi Yar.
Yeah.
Just imagine that scale
That's unfathomable.
of atrocity. And that's just one example. It was a blueprint, almost,
Oh, wow.
for what happened in other places.
So the Nazis and their collaborators, they didn't stop there.
No, they spread their net of terror further east.
Further east.
To places like Bogdanovka.
Bogdanovka. That's a name that comes up a lot
It does.
when you read about Samuel Mitya Bykov.
Right. This is where his story intersects with this larger tragedy.
Okay, so let's talk about Bogdanovka then. What was it? Another death camp.
It wasn't a death camp in the traditional sense, no.
Okay.
It was more like, if you can imagine it, a holding pen.
A holding pen.
A way station.
Wow.
On this road to annihilation.
So this is where they would take people before
the final death.
final solution.
And over 54,000 people,
54,000.
many of them Jewish, were murdered there.
Murdered. I mean, is that...
In just 45 days.
Oh, my God.
It's hard to even...
45 days. That's just...
incomprehensible. And what makes Bogdanovka particularly horrific is the method they used.
The method.
The Nazis, stretched thin by the war.
Okay, yeah.
They just couldn't keep up. With their own murderous pace. And they resorted to just burning people people alive.
Burning people.
In barns.
Oh, my God.
It's hard to even imagine.
It's just horrific.
The cruelty.
And Samuel, this little boy, he was there.
He was there.
In the middle of this.
He was imprisoned at Bogdanovka with his family.
His whole family.
His mother, his grandmother, his sister.
Oh, my God.
And in this, cruel twist of fate, 29 members of his extended family perished.
Oh, my God.
In that camp.
That's just, I mean, I don't even know what to say to that.
It's beyond comprehension. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
This is where Bykov's story takes this turn.
A turn.
Against all odds.
Yeah.
He survived Bogdanovka.
He survived.
Along with his mother, grandmother, and sister.
How is that even possible?
They were among only 127 survivors.
127 out of over 54,000.
It's hard to...
That's unbelievable.
The details are scarce, but some accounts suggest that the approaching Soviet army forced the Nazis to abandon the camp.
Abandon the camp.
Yeah, in a hurry.
So they just left?
They left some prisoners behind.
Including Samuel?
Including Bykov and his family. It really is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, especially in the face of such
unimaginable cruelty. It makes you think, about the importance of remembering these stories, these individual stories like Bykov's.
Absolutely.
It's so easy to get lost in the statistics and the sheer scale of the Holocaust. But hearing about this single life,
one person,
a baby who went through this,
it makes it real.
It makes it so real.
Human.
It's just so powerful. You know?
And it's a challenge to us, I think.
A challenge.
To think about how these large-scale events, these historical events, impact individuals on such a personal level.
Yeah,
it forces us to grapple with the human cost
of
this hatred and intolerance.
It's so easy to forget that, when you're thinking about these things on such a grand scale.
It's easy to get lost in the numbers.
Right.
But it's a reminder that history, it isn't just these dates and numbers. It's made up of countless individual stories.
Right.
Each one filled with this pain
and hope.
And even hope.
It's incredible. It really makes you think, what would it have been like to be in his tiny shoes, witnessing the worst of humanity.
At such a young age.
And then to somehow emerge from that darkness.
And carry on, right? It's a question we can all ponder.
Yeah, it's a heavy question, but...
It is, but it's an important one.
It is. It's important to ask those questions.
Yeah, I think so.
And to try to understand.
Because how does knowing this story of a single individual like Samuel Mitya Bykov change our understanding of the Holocaust? His story. And the stories of all those who endured this.
It's a reminder, right?
It's a reminder.
Reminder of the need for empathy.
Understanding.
And never forgetting.
And a commitment to never forgetting.
The past. Yeah.
Because if we forget the past,
we're doomed to repeat it.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Okay.
But thank you for joining us for this this really intense deep dive.
It was my pleasure.
Into a story that I think will stick with us for a long time.
Absolutely.
And I hope it sticks with our listeners as well.
I hope so too.